Hello, everyone, and welcome to my presentation about conversions for maximizing your lifetime value. So, I am really excited to be here talking about this topic. This is a topic I feel really strongly about because it is more than just conversions, it's about customer loyalty as well. And if you do measure metrics such as LTV, then you will understand how important it is as well. So I call this as well from visitor to loyal customer because of that. So that being said, let's get started. I am going to start by introducing myself so you know who am I. And my name is Anna. I'm a UX consultant, coach, and educator. I am specialized in UX strategy, user research, and ethical conversion rate optimization. So for me, it's really important to take into consideration many other factors that align with conversions. And I do believe we all can contribute to creating a positive impact in the world. And as you can see, I have worked with many customer-centric companies, including Google, and also social impacts, working for the European Innovation Academy and also Bridge for Billions. It was great to be able to make a change and work with social impact startups as well. And of course, I am also a vetted growth mentor, which I'm really proud of being there. And I also do teaching. I teach UX students in some different partnerships. One of them Springboard. Okay, so let's get started then. Oh, and I'm based in Portugal as well. I have lived in the UK for 6 years and I have come back to Portugal very recently. So first of all, is this presentation for you? And I know we are all so busy, so it's really important to actually know what are the right things we should be spending some time on. And well, this is for you if you are in this for the long run. So what do I mean with being, for the long run? I mean that you actually want to have a business that is successful in the long term. So you do think about the future of your business in terms of having a sustainable business model. So it's more than just getting revenue right now or short term quick wins. So you do care about the impact that your decisions have in your business in the long run. And obviously, this means you want to create long-term impact because when we are just selling products and we don't think about the future of the product and also the impact the product has on our customer lives, then we are not creating long-term impact. But if you do care about the future of your business, you also care about creating this type of impact. And well, if you want your brand and product to be memorable for the right reasons, this is also right for you. And right reasons, I mean, obviously your customers are going to remember you because you have provided a great user experience and not because they feel frustrated with your product, whether that's digital product, subscription model, whatever it is that you sell, you want to make sure that you're providing a great experience, right? So, last thing, you also know how important it is to achieve your business goals and you're not willing to sacrifice your users and customers in the process. So obviously it is important to achieve your business goals, but it's also important to align those goals to your customers. So we can think about these in terms of more than digital. We can think about how that works in the real world as well. So let's think about leads. So you probably get leads through, for example, let's say a landing page. And that's a very important conversion point. That is true. And we can think about a store, for example, in real life, let's say that we offer a free sample, or we even have a very nice sale, a very special deal that actually gets people to get inside the store. And that is great. So every time we are doing that, we are getting new leads, which is, of course, important. However, we need to think that user experience is during the whole journey. And we also need to think about the people who are already inside the store. So let's say, for example, that we actually are successful in getting people inside the store, but then the experience inside the store is terrible and people are leaving as soon as they get inside as well. So what happens here is that we are focusing on the short-term conversion, in this case, getting people inside the store, but we are forgetting about the rest of the journey. And that is just one example. Of course, it's important to get people inside the store, otherwise they will never buy, but it's also important to think about whole user experience. So this is one example here of what happens if we focus on short-term conversions only and we do that isolated. It's the same thing when we actually have that lead turn into a customer. So that's great. We actually managed to provide good enough of a user experience in the process of converting that lead into the customer. Okay, there are many ways to convert leads into customers. So there are many ways of getting people to buy a product, let's say, whether that's digital or not. However, we need to think that we really need to manage expectations at this point. Like, it's not worth it to have a customer sign up for a product, let's say, and then once again, they will not be happy with the product. So maybe they will cancel their membership, or maybe they will just ask for a refund, or if they can't do anything, they might just not recommend your company or your product at all. So it's something that we need to think about. So you can see now how user experience can obviously contribute to conversion rate optimization, but it's not the same thing. So having conversions doesn't necessarily mean that you're providing a good user experience. So that's something to think about. And then, of course, it doesn't mean every customer is going to actually be a loyal customer. So as I said, if someone is using the product, but the user experience is not great, then even if they don't leave, maybe they just don't be engaged enough, or they don't use your product enough, and getting to that loyal customer phase, you really need to be investing in providing a great user experience. Make that customer really happy with your product, basically. Right? So let's think about customer acquisition versus retention. So I don't know if you're familiar with the stats, but it's quite impressive because the cost of acquiring a new customer can range from 5 to 25 times more expensive than actually keeping an existing one. So, well, what you need to do is basically treat well your customers and provide them with a good user experience, because you really need to keep those customers, otherwise you are losing money. So that's pretty much clear, right? So why user experience though? Like, you might be thinking about, well, this is great. So what is the role of user experience in all of this? So these are a few stats I've put together, but basically what I think it's really important to understand is that all these stats are about the whole customer journey and the whole user experience. It's not just at one point of the journey. So for example, here we have, okay, 70% of customers abandon the shopping carts because of bad user experience. Well, this means that you have to make it really easy and even pleasant for someone to buy from you on your website, for example. And that's even before they actually are a customer. But then you say, and you see, you continue seeing those stats, and then you see that And many users actually stopped using an app because of poor performance. So you see, it's not enough to just get people to buy your app. You actually need to provide them with a good user experience when they are using your product. And exactly, user experience is really, really important here. So that being said, I am going to show you a graphic that I really love, and this is by Aaron Walter. And this graphic basically, it's the user experience version of the pyramid that you already know, the human needs. So in this case, we're talking about user needs, right? So what is it all about? Well, so basically, it's the same principle. If someone cannot provide a basic functionality, obviously it doesn't matter. Think about other factors, and it works with conversion rate optimization as well. Like if it's really difficult for me, let's say as a customer, to buy something on the website or to even sign up for your product, then it doesn't matter anything else you do in terms of trying to optimize for conversions. So, for example, changing the color of the buttons, make things really prominent, adding different value propositions, testing the copy. It doesn't matter because you are not catering for the user very basic needs. So that's the bottom of the pyramid. So it's what we call functionality. So if a website, for example, doesn't work, then, well, there's nothing I can do. I'll just leave and I might go to the competitor instead. If the website is not reliable, if it's too slow, or if it's not usable, if it's too difficult, again, I just won't continue, right? So first things first, the first thing you need really to worry about is the functionality and usability. So if a shop is closed, I can't just get inside, so there's nothing I can do. I can't do, I won't do. And then if it's really difficult to do something on your website, too difficult, I can't be bothered. As a customer, I will leave. So it's really important to think about these friction points, because this is not just about conversion, this is about user experience. And friction points can really make a change. And if your website or if your experience is really bad, then any improvement in terms of user experience, you're going to see a huge change in terms of conversions, obviously. So this is the first step, right? And now, what is the right way to do conversion rate optimization? And that's the main topic of this presentation that I really want to talk about. So there are many ways to do conversion rate optimization. We can trick people and we can try quick wins. And the bottom line here is that we want to align the user needs with the business goals if, like I said in the beginning, you are in this for the long run, right? So it's very, very important that you don't prioritize your business goals and in terms of your user needs. So if something is not good for the user, then we should take that into consideration. And this is applicable to many different things. Like if it's a pop-up, for example, that is interrupting the user experience, you might be even seeing conversions, but one, are they high quality leads? Do actually people know what they're signing up for, or are they just signing up because they've been tricked, for example? And the second thing is, how loyal are these customers, and what is the opinion they have of your website, of your company, of your brand? Do they trust it? So those are things that you really need to think if you actually want to build something that it has a long-term impact. Otherwise, you will have conversions, and yes, you will have short-term wins, but what about the future? What about keeping your business memorable, like your product, your brand memorable? So, how do we do this then? How do we align user needs with business goals? Great question, right? So, let's find out. So to truly understand your users, you need more than just best practices, okay? This is a very common myth. And I get asked this a lot, okay? Even when someone wants to have a call with me on Growth Mentor, I get this asked a lot about best practices. And it is true, best practices are important. And sometimes they do allow you to have some quick wins. I'm not going to lie. And this is one of the services I offer as well. I actually combine a heuristic report, which is based on best practices. However, it's more than that. So conversion rate optimization is not just about best practices. It's not just like a guide or a list of best practices, because what works, with your competitor, for example, it might not work with you. You are different. You have different value propositions. You have different audience. You need to really understand your users. That is essential. So that's one thing. The other thing is A/B testing, because you might say, oh, that's okay. I can use best practice because I'm just going to do A/B testing. And you're going to test all of them. Well, there are many things that make it really difficult to do this. Well, first of all, in terms of time as well, and getting actually statistically significant results, that is going to be very difficult if you just test randomly everything. And the second thing I'm going to explain is that you are not going to be able to understand why, because you don't know your users. So you can test as many times as you want. And I mean, what does it matter if someone clicks on the red button instead of the green? Why do they do that? How can you apply that in the long term? You don't know, right? Because you are just doing random tests. So very, very important to know this. And the last one is that you need more than tools. I mean, tools are great, okay? And I do have a list of tools that I use, but you need more than tools. Like, tools are not going to do everything for you, okay? Very important to understand this as well. So if you ignore this, you will never understand why. You are not going to be able to, like, it's impossible. Like, you won't understand why some things work and why some other things don't work. And because of that, you will never be able to implement changes based on what you've learned. So this means that your learnings aren't going to be applicable for the long term, because you are always learning. You are learning from your user behavior, you're learning from your analytics, you are learning from actually interacting with your customers. So if you don't do that, you will never understand why. So that's not really conversion rate optimization. Quick wins is not conversion rate optimization. You do need a strategic plan for the long term. Okay? So this is an example here, and this is actually a real story. I can't remember which company did that, but it's actually true. So what they did, like, they tested two versions, right? But in order to test these two versions, they needed to conduct research. And they actually, what they've done, they conducted qualitative research. And you can see that, I mean, it's really difficult to come up with these random, let's say, statements. I mean, you could try, and you could try many different versions, but ultimately this is based on your own customers' values. So when you do user research, when you do quantitative but mostly qualitative research, you can understand more of your users' pain points, motivations, what they value, right? And in this case, it's very clear. Like, version A, okay, meet single people nearby. So this was a dating company, right? And then version B, meet your soulmate today. Like, it can be a tiny thing, right? And of course, like, we have the today. Today is about urgency as well. But meet your soulmate is different. It means, like, these people, they actually are looking for long-term relationships, for example. So they're not looking for something short-term. So knowing the value, and for example, maybe their competitor is doing something completely different and maybe it's working for them. But in this case, this was the value. So this was what their customers personally valued. So they obviously should be was the winner in this case. Now, you can't apply that to other companies because that's specific to the research that was conducted to that specific company. And that's why sometimes we don't want to share the wins because we are scared that, oh, our competitors are going to copy us, we are going to find our secret, but not really. It's just about understanding your real users, like your real customers, right? So, conversion rate optimization, and just to summarize, is an ongoing process. So there are two main phases, and I make this very clear even with everyone I work with. because I think it's really, really important to go through these phases. Otherwise, I don't feel I can personally add as much value. So we have a research phase, right? This research phase is really important. And there are many things you can do during this research phase. So you should be able to gather at least quantitative data and qualitative data. So quantitative data, we are talking more about numbers, obviously, and things that you can quantify. For example, analytics. You can gather easily some quantitative data via analytics, okay? There are different types of research and data within quantitative data as well, but I won't have time to cover everything. But what I want you to know is that it is really important to have at least these different types of data. And there's also the heuristic analysis. So that's when I analyze your website or your landing page according to your goals and according to what I mentioned, the best practices, right? So best practices is not just about usability. So when we think about usability heuristics, as I said, that's level one. So first things first, we need to have the usability right. But there also heuristic analysis for conversion, that you can use some conversion frameworks as well. So just to give you an idea of what is possible to do just during the research phase, okay? So when you have the research phase, if you are able to combine analytics, qualitative data, and also best practices and some insights on terms of visibility, this is great because all of this together, you are going to be able to actually prioritize and make sense of the hypothesis you formulate. So now, yes, we're ready for the testing phase, and the testing phase is about formulating hypotheses. But in this case, you're not just formulating random hypotheses, you are formulating hypotheses based on what you've learned from the research phase. And that's the secret. That's the secret for a great conversion optimization plan that actually gets you loyal customers, not just leads, and that actually thinks on the long term for your business and your company. Okay? So after the hypothesis, of course, you test and then you measure and learn, and that's when you are able to do again research, but you actually learn from it. And another very common myth is that someone that you hire, for example, needs to come up with hypotheses that are always going to be winners. No, that's totally wrong. Actually, it's not good if everything you test is going to be a winner, because that might be some bias there. Okay, you need to be very careful. Like when you do the testing phase, you are testing to learn. So if you fail, like if the test fails, it doesn't matter if you're learning. Obviously, if you're doing random tests, then you won't learn anything. But if you do this right, what you want to do here is you want to learn. You want to learn from the wins, and you want to learn from the tests that fail as well. And also, it's impossible to know everything in the beginning. So obviously, you are going to fail a lot in the beginning, which is completely normal. And then you are going to use those learnings to actually refine everything. That cycle. Right? So let's recap. How do you formulate hypotheses? So qualitative research, quantitative research, heuristic analysis. So some examples of methods, just so you have an idea of what can be done, right? Qualitative research, you can do interviews, for example, and that's it's a really simple method for anyone, even if you're not a researcher. Obviously, I recommend a researcher. Then you have usability testing, which is also another qualitative research method. Customer service logs, these are so valuable. Like any interaction you have in terms of customer service, this is so valuable. There's so much you can find. Then you have the quantitative research, and you have the technical analysis. Like there's bugs, there's the speed, there's the issues. Like I said before, if people cannot complete a task, if they can't achieve their goals in your website, then there's nothing you can do, right? So that's kind of the priority: technical bugs, anything. You can do surveys as well. Like you can do quantitative surveys. Like on your site, you can have a survey as well to understand a bit more of your customers. And then you have analytics, which is great. And you have other tools that also gather analytics, and they even gather something more, like observational data, like for example, Hotjar. Hotjar lets you get the heat maps, the click maps, and also the session recordings, which is really valuable because you are observing people in real time. That is amazing, right? And then we have the heuristic analysis. That's what I mentioned before. And there are many types of heuristic analysis, but they are usually based on specific heuristics. In this case, for conversion frameworks that have their own heuristics as well. Like, it is important to have a framework because even though me, I have experience and I know best practices, if I am like writing or compiling a professional and formal report, I am going to explain to you which was a framework I'm basing myself on, otherwise it's going to be subjective. So also for me, to avoid being biased, it's important to use heuristics and frameworks, right? So, well, what I want you to understand basically is only if you understand your customers will you be able to speak to their pain points, their motivations, and their deep needs. So, you'll be able to know what works and what doesn't and why. Only if. Okay? And that's something I really want you to think about. And most of all, if you do this, you are going to leave a long-term impact with your experiences. You are going to make people happy. You're going to make people happy with your product. You're going to make people's lives better. Like, your product is going to solve a real need, right? And if you do that, obviously, it's going to meet your business goals because everything is connected and everything is aligned. I hope you enjoy this really short presentation, and I really hope we can connect. So you can connect me on LinkedIn, and obviously you can connect with me on Growth Mentor as well, and we can chat. So just so you have an idea, actually Growth Mentor is the only place where I'm offering this price. So if you want to book a very affordable session with me, you should actually do it through Growth Mentor. And also because that's where I have my availability for individual sessions. So usually I do more of a long-term program. But I would be really happy to chat more if you want to know more about this topic. And yes, well, that's pretty much it. And even if you don't want to talk to me, talk to someone else because Growth Mentor has amazing mentors and you can learn so much from different skills and expertise. So thank you so much, and I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope you enjoy. Bye.